And hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're playing Terra Invicta, which is a game that I find very interesting. Not one that I've completed, so we'll see if I can actually go ahead and complete a run eventually, as far as the stream goes. We're going to end up doing a customized campaign here. There's only one scenario. We're going to play with the full solar system because I don't think decreasing the size of the full solar system really is going to help, if that makes sense. A minimal solar system might actually make it a little bit more competitive for some of the solar resources. I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead, sort of a mixed bag, asking Reddit which faction I should play. There's a bunch that were basically saying humanity first with the sort of focus on killing everything, and then the rest of the other half was sort of like, we don't really care as long as it's a consistent play, and probably don't play resistance or humanity first because a lot of people do that. So, and there was a couple that were like, do role-playing or whatever, right? So I think I'm going to initiative. Gonna keep the difficulty normal. And this is basically the differences away from normal, right? Is I'm going to basically start with no counselors. And I'm going to have it set up to show me the triggered projects, so I can know which projects that I'm not going to get, I'm going to have to steal, right? And that's all the differences I'm going to do off of normal. The reason I'm going to do initiative is I'm going to do a little bit of role-playing here. A lot of people were like, okay, don't do the meta, which is usually some version of take Kazakhstan and combo with one of the majors. We're going to start off sort of the Middle East start, and depending on what it looks like and depending on what councils I get, depends on where I end up going. Whether I go into India or China or EU. Or maybe at that point we decide we do go after Kazakhstan because we're going to do a Kazakhstan like Russia run or something. But I'm going to do that based off of where the councils are pulling me, not trying to do a meta. So with that, let's start this customized campaign. So as far as this game goes, there's going to be occasions where I'm going to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But most of the time, I'm going to just assume that you know the game, if that makes sense. So if you have questions, whether you're in Twitch chat or you're in YouTube, feel free to leave it as a comment, and I'll try to respond to it when I see those comments. So if I see something in the Twitch chat, I'll try to respond to it live. If I see something in the YouTube chat, YouTube comments, I'll try to leave and respond to your comment directly. Otherwise, I'm going to basically just assume that you know what you're doing, and I'm just going to explain why, when I do weird things, why I'm doing those weird things.
We remember the day the stars answered.
I'm going to assume here that everyone's seen the intro video. If you haven't, the intro video is something you can easily trigger very easily by distracting the game. Okay, so in this case, we've got a crash site in Yastuk, Russia. So there's maybe an argument.
The council has appointed you leader of our organization. I am Soren van Beek.
There's maybe an argument there that we don't necessarily want to do something in Eurasia, because the aliens are going to basically start in Eurasia. And they frequently get something Eurasia. There's more Eurasia, Africa than there is New World in that descriptor, right? So they're more likely to land somewhere if there's more there. That makes sense. So, starting research. I'm going to go for They're Not Alone, because the first thing I probably want to do is... actually, back up. I'll probably want to go ahead and get my clandestine cells so I can get my 5th counselor. Otherwise, I'm initially probably going to let the AI pick our direction. Until I know I have a science control to be able to control a zone. Right, so I can probably early game get enough science that I can control one of these 3 boxes. Until I get enough science where I think I control more than one, I'm going to let the AI mostly pick the other 2. Early on, we need to go ahead and generate our council. I am playing on the experimental branch, which I think right now is 0.4.60. So things look different from you playing from your end. Either you're on a later version or you're on an older version, because this is not the stable version, the stable branch version. So I've got 100 influence, or a little over 100 influence here to spend. Normally, it would have given you 3 counselors to start, or giving you 2 counselors to start with. But I've picked the don't give me those 2, let me pick bonus, which is I basically get to pick what I want, but at the same time, I only get 30 back for each. So most of these are apparently actually 60 value. It's a couple 120s that we won't be able to pick right now. I'm not sure if I'd even want to pick the 120s, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not salivating over these 120s anyway, so probably wouldn't pick the 120s. We've got one 30 choice here, so at most right now we can pick a 30 choice and pick a 60 choice. So, for an opening start, 99 persuasion, control nation, public campaigner is not actually a bad start. So I'm tempted to actually just take the 30-60. Which, from a number of counselor standpoint, is probably the way to go. And what does the judge have? The judge has control nations, so we can take over nations with them. Does the 30 have... No, the 30 does not have the investigate alien trick. The judge does, though. So the judge would actually be a good one to combo potentially with that. Yeah. Judge's got government, addict, veteran, streetwise, earthbound, anxious. Okay. Some of these are not good, like addict's not good, for example. The judge does have 7 persuasion, again, very useful for early game when you're trying to take territory. Also has 6 investigation. So once we get past the very early game and people start having territory controlled, we're going to want to do crackdowns on them. So getting some investigation would be useful. Or the other one is I go for the officer here. Yeah, I'm thinking that officer. Officer's got striver. Officer's also got 9 commands, so we can do things like coup d'etat and stabilize nation and stuff with them. And still does have access to control nation and inspire, so that's not actually bad. So yeah, we're gonna pick up the evangelist. We're gonna pick up the officer. Okay, and then early on, the territory I'm going to go ahead and try to acquire early is I'm going to try to acquire Gulf states early. Policy not available because, yeah. Fine. Okay, so you control, 60% chance to control. Yeah.
Establishing control.
I'm here.
And you're obviously a lot worse at controlling. But we'll still go ahead and tell you to do control for the moment.
Them to our
we'll
side.
see how that washes out. Oh, it's not policies, it's priorities. Okay. I'm also going to design my own sort of default priority template here. Initiative start. Oops. So I think this should roughly work for what I want to do right at the beginning, which is, at the moment I'm going to be wanting to extract a lot of money from these places. Where possible, I probably want them to solely gain opinion, or public opinion of me. Unity does that. Welfare to offset the spoils, and then a little bit of economy to offset any global warming effects. But basically something very lean in on giving me lots of money. So I'm going to save that as initiative start. Then I'm going to play that as my default. And that's basically going to be the start. One thing I will go before we do start cycling is we're going to see where because the public opinion of our faction is a bit random throughout the world. We're going to see where public opinion for our faction is above normal. Normally, the highest one's going to basically be the academy in most places. So we can see we're particularly happy in Laos, South Yemen, Zambia. So potentially we can do something where we can try to get the Yemens combined. Fairly easily. Zambia, Congo, Iraq, Libya, Mexico. So Mexico might be an interesting place where we try to get into. But most of these are pretty small places, so we're maybe not going to really try to combo off with this very much. Because yeah, the big ones are all going to be like 30 plus, which is the biggest one in there is Mexico. Most of the rest of them are places we could get into even if we didn't have control. Oops. And we'll turn the speed up. Run through the first 7 days real quick. I'm going to remain in the shadows here. If I wanted to get more influence rapidly so we can get more counselors off, we could go with Deliver the Manifesto or quietly steer things from the shadow, but no, we'll remain in the
They
shadows.
are here to cleanse.
Our only hope.
So we
is
see
to
those sort of
understand
pro-alien
what you-
factions announce themselves at the conference.
We're taking over.
Right?
We'll be
So
ready
we
for
come in
new
here,
orders
and we just
soon.
took the first point here. To be fair, our first person to go was the higher persuasion person, who's the one more likely to succeed. Double check with the welfare here. 0.009 down, or 0.909 down, and in theory we're only raising about 0.006. So this should, over time, slowly reduce the crushing inequality in the Gulf states, but at the same time it's going to be giving us a bunch of money, which is what we want.
We still lack support.
And the less effective guys failed. Okay, so we got our management team. So how do we want to do with the management team? I suppose role-playing as the initiative, either I want to do basically R&D, we probably want to research, or do I want to do financiers, investors for money. And I imagine that in this situation I'm going to want one R&D much earlier than I'm going to want just raw money. Raw money, to be fair, isn't particularly strong. We already got the Gulf states funding us, so we expect the countries to pay us money, not us to pull it from the void.
Putting our
Okay,
people in
we'll go to
place.
try to control another one of those points.
Ready.
We're going to send this guy to go check out
Investigating alien site.
the alien site. Then we're going to check to see... We don't yet have 30, so we need to get up to whole 60. Okay, so pretty much just going to go ahead and cycle it again. And yeah, by focusing on the one thing. So we focused on we are alone. We are in the running for it. You can kind of to a certain degree see we obviously don't have enough science. Even focusing everything on that one thing, we're not taking control of it. So we'll have to see how things go.
Recon complete.
Okay, so we investigated the alien activity
Move out in
site,
front of this for now.
which has given us a one-off boost of science and influence. The first one always does that, which is why I did that first one early on, so we get the influence. And then we can go ahead and get new project. Yeah, let's open up research. We can set that project up. Still far less priority than trying to take control of We Are Alone.
We still lack support.
Oh, and we failed to roll that success. Okay, so it's telling us that she got detected because she failed, which is probably fine. Early on, most of the other factions are not going to be coming after you, so it doesn't really matter if they know where you are. What's the unrest problems here? We do have at above 1.5, so let's go ahead and carry out a
We'll restore peace to this
stabilization mission
nation.
here. We don't quite have 60. Hello, Cheddar. So yeah, we don't quite have 60, so we can't go ahead and grab a second one yet, and we haven't rolled any lower valued ones.
Violence is abating.
Anyway, we'll do one more cycle on that.
We were unable to establish control.
And no luck in taking over the Gulf states. And apparently it's telling us, hey, we've gone ahead and seen... Someone did like us, where this probably failed a mission, and that revealed enough intel on them that we were able to tell where they were. So let's go ahead and take a look at our counselors. So we're not yet rich enough to go ahead and take over any of the orgs. Apparently because most of the ones that are not got some influence cost to them are quite expensive in money. But that is something we're working on. So we got this driver here. He can pick up a bunch of augments. So the question is, what do I want to augment him in? Counselor, opinion leader. Yes, lots of voices. That's actually some science, which is a little bit tempting. Let's grab the senior military scientist role. Suppose I could focus on trying to get his command up so he'd be a little bit stronger in command. So let's try to focus on this guy a little bit. So yeah, so this game is Terra Invicta. It's a sort of a 4X game. And this game is kind of complicated. Partially assuming that people following along watching have an understanding of what the game is. Do we want this guy? We don't want this guy to be a criminal yet. Oh my god, it's a bit expensive to pick up. Probably just grab some persuasion. A bit better persuasion. So as the person in chat is saying, it kind of looks like it's risky. And when we're down on the planet, it is kind of risky. But it's a space game. You can zoom out, and there's space, and there's space, and there's space. This is a game that sort of rolls around on what if aliens showed up. The aliens have like weird mind control powers. So once more, we're going to go after trying to take control of that place. Okay, we have apparently got enough science. We have been able to take control of the We Are Not Alone research, which is good to see.
Order is returning.
New project. At some point, we're going to access the labs, but those are space labs, which we're not in a rush for. There we go. We got the second spot in the Gulf states. So that should help a lot with significantly increasing our revenue. Because the Gulf states, it's every time a thing of spoils completes, we get paid 33.4 times 2. So it's quite a decent amount of revenue.
Reporting in.
So how likely are you to take a spot off of Mexico? Pretty likely. We can get a 72% chance. The wonders of 10 persuasion with a decent public opinion bonus. Let's go ahead and grab some Mexico.
Bringing them to our side.
Once we get some Mexico, we'll probably move this guy over here to help deal with the unrest in Mexico. Let's recruit our second counselor. So at this point, we probably could pick up the judge, for example. Not that we need the persuasion so much, but rather we need espionage and investigation to round out our starting crew. The highest espionage is the spy. Do I want the spy? Scrutable, government, aware. Does have the important ones, which is purge and assassinate for espionage. Anyway, so this engineer here is not a particularly great choice. Might be a nice one for like a number 5 because of the science on them, but right now it's not super interesting. And we don't need another... well, a striver wouldn't be that bad. It would be one of those where we wouldn't have them be what we want them to be at the right start. In fact, actually, yeah, let's pick the striver up.
Where do you need me?
And then, okay, they don't quite have such a high chance of success in Mexico with taking a point, but they have a above average chance of public campaign. So we can use them to start bringing up public opinion more. And they're a striver, so they're getting the 30% XP reduction for every the older upgrades. Oh, civil engineering and environment, okay. Program is famous. Hopefully not that as well. Actually, would be an argument potentially to get influence up higher quicker sooner. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab and make it famous. And we'll then take a normal cycle. Select our advisory team. So we're the initiative, so international aid would not be very thematic. Again, we're an initiative, so the generals aren't very thematic, so it's going to be between sort of economic development, hey, we like economy, money is money, or we think all the resources are in space, so we're going to go to space. I think the meta is more do the missiles here, so we can do economic development.
Things are stabilizing.
Okay, so we've gone ahead and stabilized enough in the Gulf nation that we can probably leave them alone for a bit. Okay, and apparently
The trick is not
Skywatch is finished, so we are now able to see alien presence in space. So we're now able to basically see the aliens that are
Our
sort of spying on
supporters
us.
are in place.
Oh, and we got into Mexico nice and quick. Good to see.
Wrapping up here.
So because of how unstable Mexico starts, I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going to take spoils off for the moment. Actually, I'm going to turn spoils down to 1. Because I do want to get them to be far more stable. Right, what's the resting stability here? Oh, they're around rest. Okay. So the resting is like 5.4, and they're at 5.5, right? So I'm going to want them more stable so I can pull resources out of them. But at the same time, that's going to require getting them stable. And in the short term, the easiest way to fix that is just crank up the welfare and get the inequality down.
Taking control.
Reporting in. We'll turn down the heat.
And then all in Mexico, okay. Ooh, and we are still struggling to keep control of We Are Not Alone. But to be fair, that's some degree to go with the fact that our counselors are not particularly great scientists. And we don't have particularly great research capacity in the nations we control right now. This is one of the strivers. This is the, yeah, that's not you guy. Okay. Could go more command. We don't need more command right now. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to do eminent. Just increase our influence gain so we can get our next counselor quicker.
Things are cooling off.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
So we're slowly stabilizing Mexico,
Our presence is growing.
and apparently taking control of more of Mexico as well, which is good to see. Okay, with the slight refresh in the org market, we can see there is an org we're able to take control of. A little bit of science here would not be bad. On the other hand, there are some other ones here that I probably do want to save up for field initiative. This is basically just science and science skill. Yeah, we want to wait, save up for something like the Shield Initiative. A little bit more money. We're starting to get the money going at this point, so it's just a matter of time. So we went ahead and completed
We've
alien
analyzed the
signatures.
samples.
For the moment, we'll go ahead and queue up Energy Lab. But I'm not going to work too much in Energy Lab. We want control of one of the global sciences, ideally.
Order is returning.
The people will come to our side.
The Surat al-Baqarah teaches that in the creation of heaven and earth,
So they went ahead
the
and
wise
researched
people
mission in
may
space,
find
which is
the
fine. That's
signs
something
of
we
Allah.
want researched
Let us
eventually
heed
anyway.
those-
I think it's like augmented reality and advanced carbon manipulation aren't too bad.
We've got our people in place.
It has always been true that we must.
They won't have enough for shield, and yeah, a lot of them really require influence or require a lot of money. Not enough XP to pick up Demagogue. This is our persuasion person. We probably do want to just pick up more persuasion on them. Yeah, just pick up more persuasion. Make them better at their job. Their primary task. And to be fair, that's a person we might get rid of.
What's the op?
Might actually get rid of this person once we start running out of things to do persuasion on.
Your
In exchange
orders?
for our activist over here, which has basically the same mission set and just a little bit worse at persuasion, but adds driver and will get better in the longer run.
The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a
So
golden
I did
age
not
of
manage to
advancement
maintain
and
control
prosperity for
of
all
We're
my-
Not Alone. So as a side effect, they've gone ahead and they've completed decided to pick outpost labs. Or outpost tabs, which is not the way I would have gone. Obviously, what I'm trying to remember, in this scenario, they've rearranged the tech trees, so I'm not actually sure where I'd go. So there's outpost tabs, for example, which is the requirement for various techs, and is something we're going to want at some point. But usually I'm not running to Mission to Mars or Mission to the Moon. Rather, I want to run to the techs that required for actually mining when we get there. Where's space mining? Cybernetics, nice, but that's not what we're looking for. Space mining refining. So normally we want to run to here, which you can see Outpost Tabs is one of the ones we need to do to get there. But we need advanced electromagnetism, mass drivers and stuff before we can get there. So that's not the one I'd prioritize first, because that increases the likelihood the AI will research either Mission to the Moon or Mission to Mars before we're ready to go to Mission to the Moon or Mission to Mars. Whereas we were looking for space mining early on. We're looking for things like electrothermal propulsion and deep space propulsion concepts. Things are involved with mining and getting there mostly. Even nuclear space is probably more interesting to pick up earlier than prerequisites to Mission to Mars. Okay, let me stop walking around the tech train. We can get back to actually playing the game. So as we're basically taking
Things are
control
stabilizing.
of Mexico here, we're basically coercing Mexico to focus on
Public
its
opinion is moving in our
inequality
direction.
problem to help stabilize the nation. So don't have to be here stabilizing, if that makes sense.
Our presence is growing.
Okay, so we've gone ahead and taken over Mexico, which is good to see. Mexico is a decently populous country. It is a decently researching country, so it's giving us a decent amount of research. Let's see, who took over France? We got the Academy in France. No one's even touched America, so if it wasn't the meta to go into America, I'd probably be thinking about going into America. India is the protectorate. No one's in Russia or China. I'd like to keep it that way, ideally. And no one's in Japan.
Ready for my mission.
So 10% China, or 0% nothing, or 0% in China, 10% in Japan. Really, for India, we probably want to take, well, for these two big ones, we probably want to take something next to them to start with, like Pakistan. Yeah, they're starting to poke around the borders where they might start sneaking into China.
Ready to go.
Don't think. Well, let's check the
go.
counselor, see if we got new choices. We do have new choices. So we got this hacker here with a 30 cost and the tycoon here. Not really interested in the tycoon. Not that an admin isn't a nice thing, but because his specialty here is admin, which is not what we need. If the hacker had purge, I'd definitely be just jumping for joy for the hacker here. Although 10 investigation is not bad, because that's what we need is crackdown and investigate counselor at some point. In fact, the only one it's missing is in prison counselor. Or detain counselor, however you want to describe that. Also nicely high science stat. So who would I use? So the spy is probably the best espionage character that actually has purge. So do I want to save up for the spy? Do I want to pick up that hacker anyway? I don't think either of my people, well, any of my people have purge.
At your service.
Standing
No.
by.
So probably one of our first 4 people wants to have purge, so we can do things like take advantage of this cracked down point in Vietnam. So I should save up to get the 60 for that crackdown.
Your orders?
I don't like that I'm seeing the pro-alien factions moving in on China. I'd like to keep them out of China if I can. So let's try to take out the second point up in Pakistan.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Acknowledged.
What's your odds of public campaign in either of them? Real bad. 50% isn't that bad. Go ahead and public campaign
We
there.
must
We'll probably go there
persuade the
next.
people.
And yeah, we're not quite there with the money to pick up Throwing Shield. Australians need 14 XP for most of the stuff we want to grab with them. Unless let's pick up Affluent or something. There we go. That's the project we were looking for. Change project, clandestine cells, yes. Everything to clandestine cells, we want that done ASAP. Second UFO. So the second alien has arrived
Violence is abated.
in Serbia.
Our cause is unjustified to them.
Serbia, Kosovo.
They are not life forms or xenosapien.
Okay, so
Our
we've met
supporters are in
the
place.
Humanity First faction, apparently. And we did manage to get one of the zones in Pakistan. So if I can get the other one, I will happily take the other one. If for no other reason than I probably want to remove Pakistan's nukes. If I'm not going to hold Pakistan, I probably want to get rid of its nukes. So it doesn't fall under the control of the aliens. Okay, we now have 60, so let's go ahead and I'm going to recruit our 4th counselor. And we're going to pick up someone who has Purge and a good command score. Okay, so we've had a partial reroll by looks of it since the last check. So the engineer is still here, but the old one I think I was thinking about picking up has moved on. Don't have that option anymore. Yeah, the old one that I was thinking of picking up has moved on. We don't have that option anymore. You have Purge, but you have 3 espionage, 2 espionage. Oh wait, the only one with decent espionage is this journalist down here who does not have the Purge. Oh, and the hacker's gone too, okay. So at this point, there's really no one I'm really interested in. Does anyone have, like, Striver? Quick Learner is not too bad. Quick Learner is not quite as good as Striver, but it's a decent step in the right direction. Oh, another Quick Learner there. Quick Learner on the Judge. Does have Crackdown Investigate, which we will need at some point. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take you. This would be another Quick Learner, would be another one that's decent at command, but we've already got a Striver that's decent at command, so. The Judge from Italy.
At your service.
I suppose you do have Purge, so we could try to do Purging. It's not likely to work, but... Okay, yeah, 6% is not likely to work. Or Crackdown. 35% is not the worst, but not where we want to start. Okay. We use to stabilize nations while we're waiting for you to get better. Yeah, but Gulf States is stable, and... you will continue stabilizing Mexico.
We'll restore peace to this nation.
Your orders?
No, we have another crash on site. Let's send the officer here to do the investigation of the Craftdown site. So we have enough money to go ahead and pick up Shield Initiative, which I am going to do. It's going to help us with getting more influence. It's going to provide us the Counselor Engineering stat, which will give us access to the 2nd tech slot. We're not necessarily ready to use that tech slot yet, but it'll be good in the long run. We'll also make him better at command, and a bunch of other stuff. Alright, I'm going to cycle one more turn, then I'm going to go ahead and put in a part break. So if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you've been enjoying.
Order is returning.
Not really expecting anything interesting happening in this turn, and
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
gained some opinion in Vietnam. It was actually quite a bit, that was plus 10%.
We found something.
We've gained significant support.
And we now have control of the executive in Pakistan, which is probably where we want to be in Pakistan. Not too worried about not controlling the security apparatus. Doubly so if the security apparatus, if the servants are going to abandon the security apparatus. Okay, and the resistance have gone ahead and acquired that point from the servants, so that's good to see. Okay, before I get distracted anymore, If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you've been enjoying. This is where I'm going to go ahead and put the part break. If you're watching on Twitch, as is the case usually with most of my streams, I tend to break them up into 30-40 minute bits and take short breaks between them. So we just crossed over 40 minutes, so this is where I'm going to go ahead and put a part break in. So if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around during the break. Watching YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow, as I'm going to try to record 4 parts tonight, if not 5 or 6, depending upon if I can keep them in 30 minutes. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part. Bye for now.